Jason Lee Podcast.
Welcome back to a new episode of the Jason Lee Podcast. You ever get to work and want to be petty right out the gate, but you know there's people watching and there's severe consequences if you do it?
All the time.
I don't have really a city council update. What I will say is I've been seeing all the headlines, and I've been seeing some of you YouTubers and some of you talk show hosts. See, I almost said something. I'm not going to do it. Who've been basking in the glory thinking that I did something wrong. I can't wait until the right moment. And it's coming soon where I'm going to show people that I am still Jason Lee. Because I think people assume that since I've been elected that I am this new pristine counselor who will refrain from letting somebody fuck around and find out. But I'm still me. And at the core of who I am, I still am going to show up and do my job.
You haven't emptied the clip in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I want to give myself flowers. Because there was an invitation to burn the good old internet down yesterday, and I did not do it. I literally went to my doctor and got a stress shot.
And no, you did not. And they give those out?
And an extra ounce of magnesium, and I put sleep patches on my wrist, and I went to sleep. I had that Michael Jackson nap last night.
Oh, my God.
Wait, those sleep patches work?
But I woke up.
You got them finally.
You missed it.
Oh.
Your joke timing is just off.
I
Get
can't
it?
Wait.
You got it.
Yes.
We had this whole debate over the weekend of whether or not Janet Jackson is an icon, but we had the whole debate.
Oh, Lord.
You all were there of the Janet Jackson and the more current superstars. And somebody asked the question, if Janet Jackson wasn't anything special, which she is special, why is it that LaToya and Rebe didn't get as famous as Janet? Am I summarizing the context of the conversation a little bit?
Well, that was just one part of the conversation.
I don't want to say the other part because then the whole internet will be in flames. But basically, there was a whole discussion around how celebrities from legacy act celebrities don't want to play the social media TikTok game. They don't want to be as relatable, or they don't want to be able to be touched. Like a Beyonce is this being that's just a force that's untouchable, and she, is just somebody that's not on the ground, whereas other artists are more, engaged in culture and whatever. And we were having a conversation about Janet Jackson and whether or not she was relevant to the times. And she's always going to be relevant as an icon, but she's just not, she doesn't seem attainable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like she's not a TikTok song. Like this generation doesn't know her music, but she's always going to be Janet Jackson, but they're not dancing to her music.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I kind of miss that celebrity aspect of not having access to them. Like back before social media times, I feel like there was more like superstar levelness because they couldn't just go on live.
Well, nowadays as a celebrity, you got to say or do something crazy and viral to be talked about. I mean, look at me. All I did was introduce Wildin' Out to my city, and the whole world knows Wildin' Out came to Stockton. Which, by the way, that's not a bad thing. You have to start looking at some of these things as cup half full, cup half empty. Everybody knows about Stockton. Everybody knows that there's a lot going on in Stockton. If you've missed our city council meetings, they are the new reality show. Go on over there to go find it. It's online somewhere. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. What I will say is that when I go through things and when I go viral and when I am in the middle of any type of controversy, and if you've been following my career since day one, I'm not new to it and it won't stop today, that it does show me a lot of how you hoes is playing on my time. And it shows me that those of you that have been waiting for me to slip, waiting for the crown to slip, you've been waiting so you can get your little dagger and stick it in my back and watch me bleed. Let me tell you something. I got something for you. I am premeditated in my responses, and my response time is always on time. It ain't on your time. It's when the Lord tells me to...
It's coming.
Huh?
Said I knew that was coming.
What, the Lord? I mean, I'm just saying, the Lord does tell me when I need to make my move, and I make my move when it's time, and the time is coming. So those of you that have been having a great time with this little distraction, just know your time is coming.
That part.
Yeah. Shout out to Drake. He got some new music out. Go listen to it. All right. Anyway, let's just get to it. It's time with the T with Jason Lee. Speaking of celebrities that say stupid shit, Steven is now slamming Sambo Yachty. That's what he called him. If you know Steven Jackson, he was really close friends with George Floyd. George Floyd was killed by the police officer. We all know it was one of the biggest moments in our civil rights movement of this era. Well, Yachty said some crazy things that I was actually not surprised, because this is what happens when people and their music and their talent is not being talked about. They have to find ways for us to talk about them, and they usually do some dumb shit. Well, former NBA player Steven Jackson dragged Lil Yachty for filth after the rapper mentioned his late friend George Floyd in a new song. And we all know that George Floyd is the 46-year-old black man who was killed on May 25th, 2020 after being pinned to the ground by Minneapolis police officers, including Derek Chauvin. Let me first give a round of applause for him going to prison. Not that we should be clapping that people are going to prison.
No, we shouldn't. Why not?
But this is one of those drop the soap moments that we would celebrate here. Mm-hmm. Well, he kneeled on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, and George died. Now, George's death notably acted as a catalyst for the Black Lives Matter movement and protests all over the world. And Derek Chauvin, as I said, was convicted and sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison. Now, more than 5 years after George Floyd's death, Lil Yachty is remembering him, but not in a super positive way, because he's Lil Yachty. Instead, social media says it's downright vile and disgusting. While streaming with content creator Plaque Max, Lil Yachty said he wanted to play a song for everyone in the room, and the audience was watching. So as the music began, everyone nodded their heads, and then Lil Yachty mouthed the lyrics, "Put my knee on her neck, I went George Floyd." Social media users again immediately began dragging the 27-year-old rapper, calling him super trash for mentioning George Floyd in a derogatory manner. The users also recalled that Yachty previously received backlash for calling the Black Lives Matter Foundation a scam, and he referenced the allegations that co-founder Patrice Cullors, who's been on our show, spent donations on a mansion and other homes. Yachty was dragged online then, and he's getting dragged again for commenting on George Floyd in a negative way. First, before we even go there, that's like one of these new rappers dragging Rosa Parks or dragging Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or something like that. And I know people are going to have their opinion on whether or not George Floyd is one of those people or should be named in the same group as those people, but he was the catalyst for a movement like they were catalyst for a movement, right?
Correct, yeah, and he was unalived in a way that was targeted specifically based on the color of his skin. You know, people want to argue against whether or not that's truth, but it was clear. Now, George, what's his name? No, the cop. He's in prison for Derek Chauvin. Yeah. He's in prison for his crime. So I mean, this is ridiculous that he would do something like that. It's annoying.
I know that this reminds me of when Lil Wayne got a lot of heat for his referencing Emmett Till, which I also think is just like off-colored. Like, you cannot, like, come on. There's better stuff that you can rhyme.
Well, Yachty has some talent. I mean, I'm not a fan of Lil Yachty. I'm not going to diss you. You know, I've met you a couple of times. I don't really listen to the new rap stuff anyway, so I couldn't recite any lyrics from any of you. And if you drink lean, I definitely don't know any of your music because I'm not in that world. And now we talk about streaming. Streaming is the new thing where people are saying things in real time that you can't cut back, which is why I do a show that is heavily edited. I don't want the drama. I don't want the smoke. Well, Steven Jackson, the former NBA player who considered himself brothers with twin George Floyd, they do look alike, dragged Lil Yachty, calling him Sambo ass nigga, plus more. Look.
Man, I'm so out the way, man, trying to mind my business. Y'all see the type of big shit we got going on and shit we doing, man. I'm making changes in my life. I'm doing the right thing. I'm winning. I'm just trying not to pay attention to you idiots, man. But, like, it's just hard, bro. Like, Lil Yachty, bro. You've been whack, my nigga. But you think you saying George Floyd name and trying to use his name in the bar that's gonna make people like your whack-ass music, my nigga? That shit weak. Y'all the only era that feel like demeaning the dead and saying that shit is cool, my nigga. It ain't. And it's me and the whole Third Ward and the whole Houston, Texas riding behind G, man. Don't ever say his name, bro. None of y'all knew G. Nothing about him. But y'all want to say his name for clout. Put a knee up on his neck. That's some weak ass shit, Yachty. But let somebody die in your family. We gonna do a whole skit about it and see how funny it is, bro. Cut that shit out, man. It's only you whack Sambo ass niggas that do shit like that.
First of all, I want to applaud Steven for always having George's back because every single time, and it's kind of sad that you have to go online time after time again defending a dead man. It was a conversation we had the other day about Aaliyah. If you watched the last podcast, let the dead just sleep. I don't know why we continue. Well, I did bring up Michael Jackson earlier, right? Well, some might find that offended, so maybe I'm being a hypocrite right now. Either way, roll it back and you can make your own decision. Argue in the comments. I don't care. But I do feel like when it comes to people like George Floyd, who I think in many ways his life breathed life, and his life being lost breathed life into a movement that I think raised awareness around unarmed black men being killed in our country. The Black Lives Matter, I've said many times, whether it was my conversation with Candace Owens, my conversation on Kanye's position on it, or my conversation with anybody, even Patrisse Cullors, Black Lives Matter is a movement. It is not just an institution. There was a movement that created a business, and you can have whatever opinions you want about it, but it is a sentiment. It's an idea that Black lives should matter equally as much. And I feel like in many ways, George's death helped to breathe life in that movement, right?
Absolutely. I think globally we saw a unifying of people who started to understand the struggle of Black people because they saw it in their face. Like I believe before the George Floyd situation was televised everywhere, I think people were like, oh, Black people they should just comply when they're dealing with the police. But now I think this showed the world the disparity of how we're treated in certain circumstances. So I think disrespecting George Floyd or disrespecting his name in any way is just something that he should tread lightly with, because again, it unified people across the world. It unified Black people in a way that we've not been unified in a very long time.
It unified all cultures.
Yeah, absolutely.
We saw it when I was out there and the protests were happening during COVID. I was seeing all races out there, all cultures getting together, celebrating, because Black Lives Mattering too is something that a lot of people who are not Black believe, right? I mean, when you see what's happening in national news right now with the deconstruction of DEI, now the remapping of different states. I mean, all of this redlining, if you start to really dig in your history and get off TikTok and stop doing the favorite dances and smoking weed and drinking lean and doing fentanyl, if you pay attention to the things that you need to pay attention to and not stop letting these distractions from happening, there'll be a thread between everything we're talking about. To not do it and to turn your eye to it is being complacent, which is why people think they can get away with it. I mean, when you look at the list of men, all the way back to, if you've been following me even before Hollywood Unlocked, if you go all the way back to when I was with the Trayvon Martin campaign, Trayvon Martin was a little kid who went to the store, somebody's son who went to the store to go get some tea and Skittles and was murdered on the way home because somebody said he looked like a robber or killer. And that man got off, George Zimmerman. I remember his name. You should too. So when we look at these situations, again, and we have an audience, those of you like a Lil Yachty, no matter how big or active your audience is, Playboy Max, Plaqueboy Max, whatever, he's lit right now. You guys are the people that people are talking about. Use your platform responsibly. Well, I don't know what happened between this one. Okay. Him and George have the same nose, huh? So crazy. They look exactly alike. A day later, Steven Jackson said he spoke with Lil Yachty and they both apologized. This is what he had to say.
Hey, what up, bro? I took my post down about Lil Yachty, man, because, I'm emotional about George. I apologized to him. You know what I'm saying? We spoke and he apologized as well. I told him it don't make no sense to make no public apology. Me and him spoke. You know what I'm saying? He understood and he understands the outrage. Yachty's a smart individual. That's why he's been so successful. You know what I'm saying? I said some things because I just don't get how people can demean dead people. I don't know when that became cool. I never do that. We never do that. And we need to start bringing some integrity back into everything we say, bro. We don't need to demean dead people. Nobody. So if anybody lost somebody, my condolences go to y'all, man. Shout out to Lil Yachty for reaching out. We talked about it. He understood, you know what I'm saying, what was said, and it went right. I salute him. A lot of people don't like to own up to when they fuck up. I'm somebody that always own up to all my fuck up things. So I apologize to him and shout out to Lil Yachty for understanding our frustration. You know what I'm saying? To all the blogs and shows that's calling me about the Lil Yachty George Floyd situation. Some of y'all don't respect because y'all never have content. All y'all do is look for mess. Some of y'all do. I won't be doing no interviews about it. I spoke to him. He's a smart young man. He's winning for a reason. He's a super smart individual. He made a mistake. He apologized. We moved on from it. It's over with. That's what y'all want us. Jumping on these shows, talking about each other, feuding and, you know what I'm saying, dumb shit, clown shit, because y'all ain't got no content. We don't do that at All the Smoke. We never clout chasing. We still winning. We leave that to the drunk shows, all right? So peep this. Won't be doing no interviews. He going to keep winning. He going to keep doing his thing. We going to meet up. He made a mistake. Let it go. Stop calling my phone.
Well, I'm glad that you guys were able to get together. But why Lil Yachty didn't do a video? That's who should have been doing the video. You know, sometimes when I see videos like this happen, and Steven, I'm not alleging that this happened with you. This is when the Bloods and Crips start making phone calls about don't you say this, don't you say that, da-da-da, and then y'all start apologizing online. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying I would have wanted to see Lil Yachty say something.
I don't even want to see him say something. I want to see him redo the song and cut that part out.
Well, I mean, he's not going to redo the song. The song is the song. I mean, there's so many offensive songs out there that have said things. I mean, you know. But there are artists like Outkast who do a song called Rosa Parks, paying homage to those who paved the way for civil rights. And then there's those that do this. This will be short-lived. Nobody's going to do a TikTok dance to it. It'll probably sell as many records as, what's the girl's name? Saweetie. I wasn't going to say Tyler. I love Tyler. Her album didn't sell. You guys brought that out of me. See? I wasn't going to mention anything about the album.
Wasn't me.
Elsewhere, George Floyd's brother slammed Yachty's inconsiderate lyrics and demanded he change them. Now, journalist and friend to me, Lauren LaRosa, shared the statement. Take a look. Lauren said, "Here's Terrence Floyd's brother of George Floyd's full statement to me about Yachty using George Floyd's name in a new song. I believe it's inconsiderate. Sometimes this generation doesn't pay attention to what they say. They just want to make a song and just get out on the charts and really feel like the people listening will accept it because of who he is. It's really inconsiderate. You should think about what you're writing. It may make sense to you, but you think about the impact to others. People are sending the clip to me. I want the line changed. Let my brother rest in peace. It disturbs the family's peace. There has to be a better message behind any mention of George Floyd's name so his legacy can live on beyond what Chauvin did to him." You know, don't forget, he has a daughter, too, and she's going to see these things and hear these things. But again, you rappers don't care. As long as y'all get a check and get talked about, I don't think people care. Right? Mm-mm. All right, well, no word yet. If Yachty does, in fact, plan to change the lyrics, I would not hold my breath, but I'll just leave him with this.
Bitch, you tried it.
Right? Bye. Speaking of bitches who tried it, Jillian Michaels, you really try. I'm going to give you this right now.
Bitch, you
Before we even get started, because you went on a show and created all types of fights on social media, and now you are the biggest loser. The Biggest Loser star, Jillian Michaels, has doubled down on her controversial comments about slavery, despite raising a black daughter in America. Mm-hmm. Can we first start by saying that I'm okay with white people not renting, but adopting black children. In fact, I text Madonna this morning, who has a ton of black children. She went straight to the motherland to pick those ones up, and she loves them, and she treats them well and provides a good life. I'm okay with anybody adopting any child, no matter what they look like or whatever. But do not adopt black children if you do not understand the impact of your thoughts on their history. We know we live in a country that does not teach black history the way that we understand it to be. Most of us who are black believe we started out as slaves in our country. No, that's not how we didn't start as slaves. And go back and do your history. But to have a conversation as a non-black woman, and I've met you a few times, Jillian. I think we were on a show. We're on some show. I think we're on Steve Harvey together, matter of fact, right? Remember?
Oh, yeah. She was on the panel. Yeah, she was on the panel.
So, and I like Jillian. I don't talk to her much because there's no reason to call her because I ain't the Biggest Loser. But this Biggest Loser is in trouble. Because she did some weird shit the other day online. She has a 15-year-old daughter whose name is Lukinzia, who she adopted from Haiti in 2012. Let me show you a photo of her and her black adoptive daughter. Gorgeous, okay? She's grown up. She's had her for a while, long enough to know the impact of your statements or thoughts on slavery. Because I'm sure you had to learn how to braid her hair. Put that picture back up with the kid. Now, we know she didn't do them braids over there on the right. We know she didn't do them braids right there in the middle. And we know, based on the first photo, that's when she first had to learn what she was going to do with that hair. Mm-hmm. So if you learned what to do with her hair, that took you on a journey of understanding how to care for her, which also includes knowing her history. Because now as her mother, having not been one to go through it, you have to be able to help her understand it. Well, Jillian recently appeared on CNN's Newsnight for a discussion around President Donald Trump and his order for a review of the Smithsonian's institution's exhibits on removing what he termed divisive or partisan narratives and to promote American exceptionalism. And on that show, she did it with a host who's African American, Abby Phillips, who's extremely intelligent. And, you know, Jillian, she has been known to be a MAGA maniac. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait until we live in a world where we don't have to talk about MAGA, Republican, Democrat. Thank God my city council seat is a nonpartisan. I love Republicans, Democrat. I just love everybody that loves doing the work. But this MAGA maniac and Trump supporter defends all of his actions. She said that the Smithsonian exhibits overly emphasize the role of white people in negative historical events like slavery and imperialism. And Jillian tried to defend slavery while seated with a panel featuring a black woman, Abby Phillips, the host, an Afro-Latino man, New York Democratic Congressman Richie Torres, and a white man, conservative commentator Scott Jennings, 2 other white women, including Democratic strategist Julie Rodzinski, who kicked off the conversation before Abby had to clear Jillian at the end. Take a listen.
On into the Smithsonian, he's effectively now has some random person deciding what is appropriate for the Smithsonian to teach in terms of American history, things that don't offend parts of the MAGA base, right? So we're now literally reviewing parts of American history and parts of American culture to make sure it comports with dear leader and what the MAGA
Can we address
wants.
some of those things that are in there? Because have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Slavery was a bad thing that we should talk about.
Okay.
Like,
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
he's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. Well, let's talk about the fact that when you look at slavery, let's talk about the fact that
slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know who was the first race to try to end slavery?
Well,
what's controversial?
I'm very surprised.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that,
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and who was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is that
in the context of American history,
okay.
In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that it was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of past. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the gay flag?
Jillian, you have a lot of stuff in front of you.
Yeah, I do, because I don't, because here's the thing.
Are you talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There's one called Change Your Game, right? This has been an installation there. Is gender testing fair in sports? Does that, and then it goes on to talk about how it's complex to do gender testing in sports. It's not complex. It's basic science. That's untrue. It's XX chromosome, XY chromosome. That's sports. Is it fair to have biological men competing against biological women in sports? No. But why is this in the Smithsonian? So it's been completely captured.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm confused. How do we go from slavery to the trans playing in sports? And is this like just the MAGA playbook? Like anytime there's racism, throw the trans out there.
Their playbook is just to throw out anything that they know is going to rile up their base. And she just negated her own argument in her second argument, because her first argument was less than 1% of white people in America own slaves. Well, less than 0.2% of athletes are transgender. So where's your issue? Where's your issue? She just defeated her own argument with her second argument about trans people. But the whole slavery thing, we'll get into that later, I hope, because,
I just want to say, as the only non-Black person on this panel, I apologize for all of the statements stated by Jillian Michaels. It does not reflect us all. But I feel like they made this panel perfectly on CNN because they knew exactly what was going to happen with putting Jillian in the seat. I just don't know whoever made her like official spokesperson for this type of shit.
Well, first of all, I don't think that you or any other white person or non-Black person, because there's a lot of Asian, Latina, there's people all over the world who believe that was just a bunch of bullshit, Jillian. In fact, you should give your kid away. You should put that kid on a plane, train, automobile, and I'm not going to say boat because that's how slaves got here. But I do think you need to go ahead and relinquish your rights to parenting a Black child saying some dumb shit like that. Now, here's the deal. I don't think you owe anybody an apology because I don't like when people feel bad and apologize for other people's ignorance. You said the dumb shit. You need to do the apology. I also, it's like my interview with Candace Owens, right? Everybody was like, stop giving this pig a platform. All these pigs have platforms, so there's no bacon here. It just is what it is. We all have a platform. I'm into talking to people who can come on a platform and educate people on stupid shit. When Candace was here at the Jason Lee show, and she was talking about trans, I knew I lost that argument because I know how people like that do those dog whistles to their bases to get them distracted from the point. The point is what Abby Phillips was asking you, and that is your comments around your complacency with slavery and the history that is real to people in this country that were impacted by it. When you look at the Native Americans, they've gotten their reparations. There's still reparation conversations in our community that we know we're never going to get. But this is where instead of apologizing, we take a moment to educate. There was a person online who is extremely intelligent. And let me tell you her name real quick while I look at this. Her name is Nicole Hannah Jones. I met her not too long ago when I went to the viewing of the 1619 Project. She is a phenomenal person, content creator, writer. She actually responded on social media. It's a rather long response, but I'm going to put it right here in the show, just so that way you can become educated. Because I'm going to use this as a minute of educating. We can look at your face and tell people have hurt your feelings in the past. That face is pulled so tight that hopefully that this next clip pulls it just a little tighter. Play.
Hey, y'all. I do not usually do these videos, but as a creator of the 1619 Project and someone who has studied the history of slavery for 3 decades, I could not let that viral CNN clip of Jillian Michaels stand. I have to first state that the times are far too serious and dangerous for us to lend our platforms to harmful nonsense. It's simply irresponsible, with everything that's happening in this country, to have someone as credentialless as Jillian Michaels on a major network show legitimizing the erasure of our history. Now, I know there have been some viral efforts to debunk her claim that somehow slavery was a side institution in the United States because less than 2% of white people owned slaves. But even those efforts, while valiant, by embracing this right-wing framing, they still aren't really getting to it. You see, this is how numbers and data, though technically true, can also be lies. And this is why we can't let bad faith actors set the parameters of the debate or of our collective understanding. So please bear with me because this is a lot. Let's take the fewer than 2% of white people own slaves at face value, though we know that number is technically incorrect. And let's apply that standard to any other industry. What percentage of Americans own social media companies or technology companies such as Apple? It's a tiny percentage. I'm doubtful if it's even 1% of Americans. And yet no one would credibly argue that social media companies are not ubiquitous across American life, that they don't play a major influence on our political, social, and economic life in America. And in fact, what we know is that more than 70% of Americans use social media, though hardly any Americans own social media platforms. There's a reason that the heads of Meta, Apple, and Amazon, Google, and X all took part in Trump's inauguration festivities, with several of them standing on the actual dais during Trump's inauguration. These men also happen to be amongst the wealthiest in the world and demonstrate how a small cadre of super wealthy men can have an outsized impact on American politics and culture. This is just critical thinking, y'all. So if we want to play the numbers game, the much more important measure is what percentage of Americans own slaves? No, but what percentage of those empowered it? So here we go. Before 1865, the end of slavery in the United States, 63% of U.S. presidents had been slave owners at some point in their lives. More than 1,800 members of Congress owned slaves, meaning between 1789 and 1819, more than half of the men elected to Congress each session were slave owners. What about the Supreme Court? 26 of this nation's first 30 Supreme Court justices were enslavers, and about half of all the Supreme Court justices before the Civil War were enslavers. So many Supreme Court justices were enslavers that if we added up all the Supreme Court justices coming all the way to this present court, 1 out of 4 of all Supreme Court justices in this nation's history were enslavers. I mean, let's just look at our money. All but one of the people on our cash currency engaged in African slavery. Look at the $1 bill, $2 bill, 10, 20, 50, 100. All these men engaged in slavery. It's weird that we didn't value all those non-slaveholding white people enough to put them on our money. The majority of the most powerful men in this country, the men who made the federal laws, interpreted the laws, and enforced the laws, built their wealth on African slavery. And I assure you, that number says much more about the country we inhabit than that 2%. But let's not stop there, because even limiting the boundaries of the conversation to those who owned other human beings is highly misleading. Much like technology today, slavery in the United States was a national endeavor that undergirded not just our political system, but our entire economy. During the height of slavery, it was not the Northeast, Boston or New York, but the Mississippi River Valley in the Deep South that had more millionaires per capita than anywhere in the nation. And the Confederacy, had it succeeded at being a separate country, would have been the fourth richest nation in the world when the Civil War started. Enslaved people in the U.S. produced 7/8 of the world's cotton supply. Enslaved-grown cotton constituted 50% of all U.S. exports, making it the number one export in America. And the North was completely intertwined in slavery, so much so that at the start of the Civil War, New York City actually considered seceding from the Union because the economy of the nation's trade capital was so heavily reliant on slavery. White enslavers financed their operations through New York banks, protected their enslaved property through New York insurance companies, and transported their slave-grown cotton on New York ships, flooding $200 million into New York's economy every year. Enslaved people built the famous wall that Wall Street is named after. Famous companies such as Lehman Brothers are rooted in slavery. The Lehman Brothers began as cotton brokers in Alabama before moving to New York to help establish the New York Stock Exchange. Brooks Brothers made not only fine suits, but slave cloth outfits to clothe the enslaved. Domino Sugar dominated based on slave-grown sugar. As a result, by some estimates, New York received 40% of all U.S. cotton revenue. They didn't have to own the slaves to profit greatly from slavery. Northern states may have outlawed slavery, but they continued to profit off of slavery and the slave trade. We learn about the marvels of the Industrial Revolution, but that revolution was made possible not just by technology, but by cheap slave-grown cotton. Rhode Island outlawed slavery in 1787, but built its economy on the slave trade. 60% of all ships in the U.S., slave ships, left Rhode Island, and they spawned an entire enterprise to support these slave traders, shipbuilders, sailors, carpenters, rope makers. James DeWitt, he was a Rhode Island slave trader, and when he died in 1837, he was the second richest person in America. I could go on, but this video is already long enough. I could talk about how our Ivy League universities either owned, hired, or invested in enslaved people. How places like Yale, for instance, are named after a slave trafficker, and Georgetown sold slaves it owned down south to avoid having to close its doors. I could talk about while, quote unquote, only 2% of white people owned slaves, by the time of the Civil War, the United States, the land of the free, had the largest enslaved population in the world. That the value of those enslaved people, that human property, was greater than all of this nation's factories, railroads, and banks combined. In other words, the United States economy and political systems were built in significant part by slavery. This is simply undeniable. Without slavery, our nation would be unrecognizable to us. We cannot let them choose the parameters of the conversation in order to obfuscate the truth. That is disinformation. And the times are too serious for us to proliferate a simplistic, unsophisticated, and childish understanding of the history of slavery in the United States, because they are using this mythology to justify erasing our history because they want to erase our rights.
So Jillian saw all of this and doubled down on her comments. Of course, she went over to X because that's the highway to hell. You can say whatever you want with no checks and balances. And this is what she said on X. Look, this person, Linda Wasson, said, when Jillian Michaels remarks it was only 2%, etc., she is denigrating all humanity by trivializing what was done to others and consequently placing her own soul in jeopardy by not recognizing such evil for what it was, evil. None of us are free until all of us are free. And here's Jillian doubling down. Jillian said, I'm denigrating all of humanity by pointing out that 98% of American white people in 1860 didn't perpetrate slavery, and in fact, many white Americans died to end it. Well, here's the deal, Jillian, and I hope that this doesn't offend anybody. But we're going to be having these conversations decades from now about Gaza. Because a lot of people are silent on the genocide that's happening over there. I saw just the other day, 62,000 people in Gaza murdered in this genocide. But nobody wants to talk about it because to talk about a genocide is to somewhat be anti-Semitic. I think you can love Jewish people and understand that the Holocaust was a tragic experience for a whole race of people where we know what Hitler did and we can acknowledge that. But we can also acknowledge what's happening in Gaza without saying that we don't support the Jewish community, right? I think humanity is humanity. What's happening in Congo, the slave trade in Libya. When you look at what's happening around the world and get off of TikTok, put the damn fentanyl down. When you pay attention to what's happening in the world, you can see that we should probably just not comment on tragic experiences like slavery when your biggest accomplishment to date was getting fat people to run and lose fat for money. I'm just saying, she has an app. Have you downloaded her weight loss app? I went and got an $11,000 surgery and I lost all the weight that the Biggest Loser leader could have never helped me do. Well, here we are now in discussion over these matters, still pending a confirmation that you're delivering your daughter back to the proper authorities. Well, until then, days later, after all of this, CNN comments, Jamil Hill, our friend to the show, she corrected her. This is what Jamil said. What Jillian Michaels completely missed is that the white folks who did not personally own slaves gleefully participated in the economy and white supremacy created by slavery. Slavery turned America into an economic superpower. That is indisputable. And her not all white people argument makes her look foolish. Nobody would ever dare minimize the Holocaust that way, nor should they. But the continual denial of the impact of slavery is widely accepted and is disgusting. Didn't we just kind of say that? Yeah. And that's me without even talking to Jamil. Hey, Jamil. Or knowing that she said that.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest frustration out of this is I feel like a lot of these conservative influencers, they're playing the victim by minimizing the history of what happened to black people in this country. And by the abolition of slavery, that was estimated to be about 4 million black people enslaved in this country. So I don't care if you want to say it's less than 2%. It was not. I believe they said 1 in 3 households owned at least one slave. So it's crazy to try and pretend like 4 million people were not impacted by being owned as if they were cattle by white people in this country. Like, let's stop minimizing it with small numbers.
Well, and the video I included in here, and be very clear, this conversation is not about anti-whiteness. This is just about this is about pro-wokeness. And those of you who feel what you feel about being woke, it's probably because you're not woke. I think woke, the idea and the sentiment about being woke is just being aware of all the things around you that impacts the lives that we all lead. You know, we intersect as people. Like all of us, when we leave here today, we're going to run into all types of different cultures, different backgrounds, different levels of mental health, different issues, circumstances, health issues. Everybody has a lot of shit going on right now. So why do we need to compound it with this ignorance? And this is why live TV is a fun thing, but it's an interesting thing because it is a weapon of truth. You can't edit yourself in real time. I will never forget the time that Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, Kelly, sat up there on The View and said in a anti-Donald Trump rant where she was going to seem like she appealed to the every average day American, said some anti-Latino stuff by saying that what are we going to do if we get all the Mexicans out of the country? Who's going to clean our toilets? I mean, live TV does kind of show you who people are. And now we've seen you. And the other thing is when you own a business, you got to be very careful when you're in these situations trying to rally a base because it can impact your business, which is why I can't wait to get out of politics. Because the minute I can get out, I'm going to be right there on CNN with Abby dragging all of you Biggest Losers for Phil. All right, goodbye. We don't have to talk. Do we have to talk about anything else like that? Because this has been a lot. No. Okay. Thank God. I don't want to talk about anything else politically related, because right now I'm not the vice mayor.
You're always
I've been through a traumatic experience this last 7 months. I tell you. Okay. Denzel Washington, one of the greatest actors ever, is rejecting cancel culture. And before I even get into the story, it's because of his age. And I'm not age shaming. It's those legacy artists and talent that come from an era where they don't know cancel culture, don't understand it. Yes, I've all said it's just something in our mind. You know, like, for example, when you see people canceled online, that it's a thing, but it is a thing. Like it is a thing. I will tell you, before I even get into the story, Charlamagne the God and I had a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about this whole Stockton wilding out thing, right? For me, I've been canceled so many times, or I've been in so much controversy, that when I see it all play out, because I don't be doing that wrong, so I don't really care. It's annoying, it's a nuisance because it's a distraction. But what we were talking about was how easy it is that any story can get picked up about anybody, and people can believe it, right? Thankfully, there's, people know me or whatever. But the people that don't know me, if you read it on face value, why did the Vice smear? You know what I mean? So I get it. We were talking about Diddy. Everybody thought that Diddy was a sex trafficking drug lord who, beat women and did other things. But we've seen what he's done, and we've seen that now the charges have dwindled down to just 2 counts of prostitution. But once it hits the internet, people believe it. And that then creates this thing called cancel culture. I don't believe in cancel culture. I hate cancel culture. But Denzel believes that it's not real. He is offering a refreshing take on cancel culture, and the acting legend, with nearly 5 decades, 50 years under his belt, isn't worried about being canceled from a culture he never signed up for. Ooh, Denzel, I can't wait to see where this is going to go. Denzel's entered that age of, like, I don't fucking care no more. Sort of like Quincy Jones. Well, Denzel, who was on a press run with legendary director and writer Spike Lee, recently sat down with Complex's News Jillian Hardenman Webb, and he had this to say.
Do you guys consider being quote unquote canceled?
What does that mean, being canceled?
It means you lose public support.
Who cares? What made public support so important to begin with?
I guess because followers now are currency.
I don't care who's following. Okay? You can't lead and follow at the same time, and you can't follow and lead at the same time. I don't follow anybody. I follow the heavenly spirit. I follow God.
Amen.
I don't follow man. I have faith in God. I have hope in man. But look around. It ain't working out so well.
Yeah.
Forget being followed. You can't be canceled if you haven't signed up. Don't sign up. Don't get me started. My chest starting to hurt. Chest getting tight. Talking about it. I could care less.
Go.
Well, I just think Denzel doesn't maybe understand the concept of cancel culture because he doesn't have massive scandals that have come out to derail his career. Well, I'm saying that have derailed his career in a way that I know we've had some whispers of scandals. But
No.
Listen,
I'm not gonna disrespect the legend or the icon by bringing him up, but he's had some scandals.
Oh, I know. But again, that was in a different era too. But if you look at people like Colin Kaepernick or Jonathan Majors, who had these cancel culture moments where
Kanye West.
Well, the first 2 didn't deserve to be canceled. So I was in those instances, I was naming people who didn't deserve to lose everything, but they did in that moment because they made a choice, right? Or because something with public. So I don't think Denzel understands it in that way because it hasn't impacted him. So, I mean, these are people who lost public support and they lost everything because of that. So it's cancel culture is real.
I think this is refreshing. Everybody was dragging the reporter for even asking that question, but I do think it's refreshing to ask the OGs and people who existed before social media existed and were big before social media was even created to talk about this.
I officially have entered the OG era as a 48-year-old. No, I have. I looked at the chart. I'm in the OG era. I'm not Unc. I'm OG.
You can still, you giving me Unc too.
No, fuck all that. Unc is Shannon Sharp, and we ain't there yet, okay? I am OG, so let me, as an OG, say this. I was having this conversation maybe with you because we just had a call with Saudi Arabia where I was saying that you can think with the government of Saudi Arabia, you can think whatever you want about the Saudis, the people in Qatar, the people in the Middle East, the people in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. When we went to Dubai, wasn't it quiet? You don't hear the noise of the news and the social media. Yes, of course, there's other challenges around that. However, I will say it was a very restful, peaceful time where I wasn't inundated all day long with clips, comments, tweets, this, because there's lots of restrictions on information like that out there. And you can't film somebody without permission. You can't, it's just a different thing. And so I will say that, yes, in an era where the noise is less, I could understand the sentiment of from somebody who's never engaged or experienced social media like that to dismiss it. That said, you know, the point that you just made was that the reporter just doing their job got dragged for filth.
Yeah.
So like this cancel culture thing where it is just noise, you have to learn how to be able to just weather the storm and turn down all the noise. To his point, how can you cancel somebody, with the exception of like a Colin Kaepernick or whatever, how can you cancel somebody just for simply being themselves? We have to start to understand the constructs of ownership and freedom and being able to work collaboratively. And there's so much to unpack around all that. But I did think it was kind of cute to say, like, who are we following? I didn't sign up to follow. Like, it's not a thing. But that's more of like a generational.
Which I love.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a double-edged sword because people don't speak because they're scared of being canceled. Or, yeah. But then also then you have people who don't have to say anything who are already canceled, like a DJ Khaled, who has not spoken on Palestine and Israel, and he's Palestinian, and he hasn't said a peep, and he's canceled still. So in those cases, what? I said what I said.
There's a lot of black celeb. Let me just first say, and I'm not defending DJ Khaled. Khaled, you know, I love you, love your wife. Hey, I'm not defending him or attacking him. Since you brought it up, I will speak on that. Khaled wasn't just silent about Gaza. The president of Rock Nation, who is Jewish, they did a whole photo thing where it became a thing where it looked like he was just not only not silent, but also like not just, it was very questionable. But I don't know his love for his people the way that he does. And people express their love for their culture in different ways. I see Serge Ibaka, who's a friend of mine, who's from the Congo, who has an entire documentary around the son of the Congo, which is about him and his upbringing in Congo and how he, you know, I went my first dinner with Serge, learning about how he used to eat scraps out of garbages in restaurants when he was walking around barefoot in the Congo pursuing basketball, then became an athlete and a superstar and what do you call it? When you're a champion in the NBA, you know, we don't see a lot of black celebrities talking about what's happening in the Congo. We see a lot of black celebrities silent on the slave trade in Libya, where they're literally tying black people up and they're in slavery right now. We see a lot of people but we have selective cancellation. We're going to cancel him for not speaking on Gaza because Gaza and Palestine and that whole situation is in the news right now. But because the Congo and Libya is not in the news right now, and you can go and argue in the comments why it's not in the news, we're not holding the same thing to a Beyonce or a Yachty or whoever, because again, we are only moved by what is pressing in social media, like what's in front of us right now.
And that's why we have to cherish.
Everybody else is this. Oops, wrong one.
Facts. And that's why you have to like big up the celebrities like Kehlani and like really protect her at all costs because she don't give a fuck about cancel culture and she's gonna speak on all that.
Speaking of Kehlani, I ran into her this weekend. Marina took some photos. Take a look. This is me and her hugging, and then this is her putting her butt on me. I don't know why people feel a need to violate my boundaries.
People I notice do always like twerk on you.
Yeah, I don't like to be twerked on.
Grab on you.
They're trying to make you straight.
Because the girls and the guys, they just love you down.
They want to have a baby
Rob.
with
So, you already know where I'm
Here
going,
we
right?
go. Here we go.
What? Rob told us he was bisexual this weekend.
I am.
Allegedly.
I don't know why this is so hard to digest.
Rob, this is where the comments start clipping this and do your thing, TikTok.
Go ahead, TikTok.
Listen, Rob, I think that if you wake up one day and want to be a Smurf, you can do that too. I learned a long time ago that the bi community is a real active community out there because once we had a show years ago, I'm not going to pull up that clip. There was a whole conversation about bisexual people and people lost their mind because how dare I say that? And I didn't say it. That bisexual thing was not a thing. I think bisexual thing is a thing. I just don't think you're in that.
You don't get to define my sexuality.
No, I know.
Just like Wayne Brady came on your show, for example, and said he's pansexual, but he's never been with a man. He's never been with a trans person. He's never been with anyone outside of a woman. He can still self-identify that way, but it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that for the next 10 years, if he doesn't touch a man, then he can't be pansexual. Well, that's what I'm saying you can't define it that way.
I get it. I can also pan to the right and tell you that was some bullshit. Just like y'all turned to me and said, what is this epidemic of beards and purses in LA right now?
I didn't say that.
You all said that.
That was your friend.
You all said that. Anyway, I listen, I don't live here anymore, so I don't care what y'all can run around in heels and dress up all day long. You can be whatever you want. Of course, you own your sexuality.
Yeah.
But I think we need to, like, there needs to be a meeting with the LGBTQ people. Like, I don't know if there's a board or some type of advisory council that can really start defining this shit. When are you bisexual? Because you wake up and thought you were. Like, you haven't been with a woman in years, you're not bi, you're gay.
That's not true.
How do you, like, that's like saying that you haven't driven a stick shift in a while. Do you still drive stick shift or manual or what?
I've had this
automatic.
We've had this conversation multiple times.
We've had it too many times. But this is where we now need to move it from our group chat to the gay council. I'm at the city council.
Keep it in the group chat.
And this is part of the greater conversation, right? Specifically.
Wait. Denzel, you ain't got nothing to do with this gay shit. Just take Denzel
Why
off.
he gotta come down? He does, because he just had a gay scene in the movie that they took out of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Put him back, because you in some gay shit, too.
He
Put
had
him
a gay
right back.
scene in the movie. They took it out. He wanted to leave it in.
Was he a top or a bottom?
I think he was a top.
It was a kiss. It was just a kiss.
But he was giving top energy.
So was he bisexual in the film?
Yeah, in the film he was bisexual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least we were able to see him being bisexual.
No, we didn't. They took it out of the movie.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, I don't know if he was gay or bisexual. I think he was bisexual.
Maybe he was ambiguous.
Maybe he was pansexual.
You know what, guys?
Somebody told me
don't do that to Denzel.
Somebody the other day told me that they were sapiosexual.
Oh yeah, sapiosexual.
What the fuck is that?
You're just attracted to
the mind?
I'm like, let me double check that. I don't use that in context. Yeah, you're just attracted to intelligence and.
Somebody told me they were sapiosexual, so I was like, "Am I attracted?" Anyway, lighthearted fun. Rob is still gay until further notice.
God.
Next. Okay.
Please.
Well, this is not a topic we can laugh at. I don't know where Amara La Negra is, but her ex, Alan, her baby dad, right? Anyway, this is former Love and Hip Hop Miami cast member Alan Musis. Anyway, he was charged with 4 counts of some serious stuff. This is Alan, former cast member of Love and Hip Hop Miami. He was just charged with 4 counts of sexual assault stemming from an alleged rape 15 years ago. Okay, this is why I hate these stories. 15 years ago, I think that people should say whatever happened to them whenever it happened. And I know that people come to terms with their own experiences. No, I'm not at all blaming. I don't victim blame. But 15 years ago, where's the DNA? Where's the proof? Where's the stuff to make this more than a story? Because once I tell this story, we're not going to hear about it anymore. Mm-hmm. And now whoever's watching, the thousands of people watching, are going to believe he did it, or judge or not believe he did it. What do you want to say?
Nothing. Let's finish. Go forward with the story. And
granted, this case is reopened, so it was. Yeah.
For those of you that don't even know who we're talking about, he was introduced to all of us season 4 of the series as Latin singer Amara La Negra's married boyfriend, then went on to have twin daughters with her. Okay, let me show you a photo of her, him, and the girls. Beautiful, beautiful girls. I remember this story as if it was yesterday because I remember his hair was, it wasn't falling out, but it was a little lighter.
You know what?
Anyway, and Amara La Negra is friend to Hollywood Unlocked. Hey, Amara, I love you. And I was happy to see that she went on and had these beautiful babies. And Amara is just an amazing, she's an amazing artist and entrepreneur. Well, we last spoke about the former couple in March on episode 82. At the time, Amara went viral after asking her still married ex-boyfriend for his sperm. Which again, we knew this was going to go left somewhere once that happened. When you ask a married ex-boyfriend to give you sperm to raise kids alone as a single mom in a broken house, is that what Dr. Brand called a broken family?
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be a problem. Well, she wanted to have another baby, fathered by the same man as her twin girls. Since then, Alan has had serious rape charges, and I'm going to say allegedly rape charges reopened. Now, 15-year-old case in Michigan. The Attorney General is now looking into it and said that on July 1st, Alan was charged with 4 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, personal injury, and on July 11th, he was arrested in Miami and extradited to Kalamazoo. And on August 8th, he was released on a $250,000 cash bond as his rape investigation remains open. Now, here's a photo of his mugshots, because, of course, we got those. Hairline still pretty much similar. Now, more into the case. Alan is being accused of sexual assault by a woman he went to college with. Now, the Attorney General's office says that Alan was a foreign exchange student from the Dominican Republic studying at Western Michigan University from 2009 in 2013. And in March of 2010, a woman told police that he allegedly raped her, but no charges were filed. However, she did undergo a forensic medical examination. 15 years later, the Kalamazoo Sexual Assault Kit Initiative had the case reopened. Now, while on the stand, the woman who remains anonymous said that she was 20 when Allen was around 25, and at the time, he allegedly raped her multiple times. And the woman described them as friends who often played sports together at the campus rec center and also used to often hang out together at his apartment. She alleged that one day he lured her into his bedroom wanting to show photos of his child. Once they were in the room, she alleged that Allen began undressing her. She denied his advances, repeatedly telling him that she didn't want to do anything. However, he allegedly ignored her and forced her into having sex multiple times. And she said she even showed him her purity ring, which is what, a ring saying that you're a virgin?
Yeah.
I mean, y'all be having them.
Yeah, that's
Black folks ain't running around with purity rings. I've never seen one in my life.
The Jonas Brothers had purity rings.
They're not black.
Correct. No, I know. They're men, though.
By the way,
men
I saw
can do
Joe,
it, too.
Is it Joe Jonas? Is that the cute one?
Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Nick. I saw him the other day. He was performing at some cancer thing or whatever. He is actually pretty decent looking. Yeah. But he was definitely singing to a recorded live track. Well, anyway, he ignored the purity ring and allegedly penetrated her. And at one point, she attempted to make him ejaculate. Why are we talking about this? One point, she attempted to make him ejaculate so he could end the incident, but Allen allegedly smacked her hand away and things just kept getting more intense. And then she began disassociating her body, staring at a clock on the wall in disbelief. And the woman claimed that Allen preyed on her and that during the alleged incident, he allegedly told her to think about this every night, which she now does via nightmares. Now, as the woman testified, Allen, who has pleaded not guilty, allegedly shook his head. And despite Allen's alleged reaction, the judge was moved by the testimony and evidence presented and sent the case from the district court to the circuit court for trial. What do we make of all this? I don't know. Where do we go from here?
This just doesn't surprise me. Everyone has a sexual assault case. I just hate giving life to this man. We only know him because of the woman he has kids with, for real. So this is just all.
But isn't it sad that almost everybody has a sexual assault case? If you really think about it, almost everybody that we've talked about on this show almost has been involved with something related to sex. Now, I think there was an era in Hollywood and in the industry and even still today where people were just being freaks. Being a freak is not illegal. I've said many times, and y'all in the comments, y'all on TikTok were all hating on me when I said that Diddy was a big old freak. Yes, he had the dildos popping. Yes, he had all of the, what's the body stuff he used? Baby oil. He had baby oil like fish on grits and just like a big old Crisco party over there. But guess what? If he wants to rub baby oil on people and run up and down the yard and slide down the dildo, slip and slide, that's his choice. He's rich or not rich. He can do whatever he wants. Well, when you start having porn, not porn stars, but prostitutes sex show workers. Up and pay them, sex workers show up and make them do different things to your girls and your guests, and you're like, then it starts getting a little muddy. But even then, he's been found guilty of prostitution, not all the freako stuff. Was he a freak? Did he rape somebody? I don't know. 15 years ago, hopefully there's some DNA there to clear up either way, because there's nothing worse than having people make allegations against you that are not true. Now, on the other hand, if you raped her, you should go to jail. But where do we go from here? Like, what do we talk about?
Let him have his day in court.
Mm-hmm.
Or is this a grab? Well, I mean, he's not really.
I was like, yeah.
With what?
Because he probably doesn't have any money.
I think that applies.
I don't even know who that is.
Well, listen, I'm sorry that we had to talk about something that we can't even. There's no conclusion to the story. Why did we even talk about this story? Why? Because I approved it, not paying attention to what was on the list of stuff to talk about. All right, well, either way, I hope this gets cleared up. And it's so sad that Amara's name has to be dragged into all this because, but then again, start picking your men right. This is what happens when you pick a man. Let me tell you something. When I look at somebody, whether I'm going to date them, sleep with them, whatever, I look at their hairline. If that ain't good, everything else to follow is going to be bad. For real. If they have halitosis, if they have a bad hairline, if they don't have abs.
Body odor.
Huh?
Body odor.
You're talking about the one from London. Well, he just didn't believe in wearing deodorant.
Yeah, he didn't.
You know, and that goes to show, like, no matter how cute you are, because he was good looking.
He was very good looking. Yeah.
Smelled like a trash bag.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Strong in that heat.
I mean, when you walk by somebody in a crowded club and we smell you when you continue to walk away, Like when you sit right here, but then when you way over there, we still smell you. That is an indication that 1, you need a bath. 2, you should have never came on a date with me. And 3, wait, where's it at? All right. Well, good luck, Alan. And if you go to prison, we'll be here to talk about it. Goodbye. All right, last story for the day. God, thank God, because I'm getting a pain right here. But that last one is this. Maybe this is a good one. Tesehki and Chrisean make up. That's good. You're not happy?
Yeah,
You don't like Chrisean.
I do like Chrisean. She's saved and she's making. I like Chrisean. I like Chrisean a lot. I love her energy. She put me on a TikTok when I saw her last time.
So you like her because you were on her TikTok?
No, I'm saying, I'm just joking. I like Chrisean. Chrisean's fun. She's funny. She's a nice person.
Chrisean Rock and her sister Tesehki have appeared to reconcile their relationship following a very public fallout. After months of feuding online and lots of allegations, this girl said that this girl molested her, allegedly.
Allegedly.
This girl came on my show. Do we have these assets in the show today?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you in a minute. She came on and said this, and then she just came back, and it's been a whole thing. Well, after months of feuding online, fans were shocked to see Chrisean FaceTiming Tesehki and even getting emotional while doing it. And it appeared to be the first time that the famous sisters have talked after Chrisean accused her sister of molesting her. And Tesehki is suggesting that she has something to do. Remember, she came on my show and said that she had something to do, allegedly. With the death of her rumored baby daddy who wasn't. Anyway, let me just give you a summary. Back in October 2024 on episode 55, who keeps track of these episodes? Is it you or
Those the
Ariella?
receipts. Both. What?
You can go back on the Hollywood Unlocked YouTube and look for episode 55. I don't remember what we talked about in episode. What is this episode?
Of the podcast?
Yes.
This is like, we're in the...
Huh? 96.
Yeah,
I don't remember what was on episode 95. So go back to episode 55. We talked about Chrisean accusing Tesehki of molesting her as a child. Tesehki has repeatedly denied the allegations, even sharing receipts of Chrisean feeling bad about her and her sister Charity experiencing childhood trauma while claiming nothing similar ever happened to her. Tesehki also shared an old live claiming Chrisean used her and Charity's trauma as her own for views on the upcoming season of Baddies Midwest. Now, 6 months later, in April of this year, Tesehki came on my show, The Jason Lee Show, and talked about her falling out with Chrisean. Look, Natalie said that Chrisean didn't want you on the show. Was it because...
I don't want to blame Blue, but I feel like he has a lot to do with how she was moving. She was already kind of moving a little weird, but it's like once she got with him, it was like...
It was a different person.
It was a total different person. My mom would call me and cry about her for hours, and I'd be like, Mom, why me out of all your 8 daughters you had? Why me? She's like, because you're the closest to her. You're the one that can talk to her.
So your mom thought you were the saving grace, that you can...
She know we haven't talked, and she know the last time we talked was the first episode of Midwest. And we was at her dinner party, me and all my siblings. Chrisean wasn't there. And my mom is going through it right now with as far as, drugs and stuff. Pray for her, please. Even though she's not all the way there, when she seen me and I was fixing her jacket, her natural, she said, hey, Chrisean. Like, that's her natural, react. Even though she's hot and not even here for real, but as soon as she seen me, this was just recent, and I don't want to get emotional, but she was like, where's Chrisean? And I was like, I looked at her, and it registered to her, like.
So Tesehki also suggested that she believed her sister was linked to the February 2025 murder of Chrisean's ex-boyfriend, Ronnie Doe. I ain't gonna lie, Tesehki, I love you. I was shocked that you said it. I was glad you said it on my show. Look. Okay, speaking of Chrisean's baby, there was a guy online from Baltimore who was claiming to be her baby dad. He ended up getting murdered, right?
Yes.
He really did get murdered? I mean, I saw that online. That was real?
Yes, that was.
And did you know him?
Rest in pieces. So yes, I fed that boy.
How did he end up getting murdered? Was he in the streets, in the stuff, or was that just a random thing?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I can't even speak on it. But if I was to speak on it, it don't look too good for certain people that we know. So I'm not gonna speak on it.
Well, because it's just all, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm not the police, but I'll just leave it at that. Well, I'll say a little bit. He ran up on Chrisean when she was out in public.
He did, and then he had a paternity test coming up or something.
And then it was all online.
And then it was pow, pow, pow. No paternity test. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, his soul.
That's sad.
It's very sad, especially because I fed him.
That was a crazy allegation to say in public. Well, Chrisean then came on the Jason Lee show after that interview, and after that clip went viral, and she had something to say in response to Tesehki's claim that she had something to do with her rumored baby daddy's murder. Look. Tesehki was here, you know that. She got emotional when talking about you.
She insinuated that I killed my ex. I'm like, damn, I thought we was cool. Like, what the f? She was a good sister, but if you hang around her too long, she get like agitated. Like, I need my perks. Y'all getting on my nerves. You're a crack baby. Like, she used to say that to me and my little brother.
Wait, she said she need her what?
She called them vitamins, but whatever, perks, whatever. So like when she don't got her perks, she kind of like, she moody.
But on the show, baddies where your friends jumped her, you had them do that.
So I got up on a sprinter and she get up in my face. She said, I will really hurt you without hurting the baby. She said it again and kept getting in my face. Then she like numbed me with her shoulder. So then Marsh was like, chill, Latifah, I'm right here.
But then she came back and beat both of them up.
They know my sister can fight. They was scared to do it. They just knew they had to do it. And then I didn't even tell them.
She insinuated, she didn't say it, but she insinuated that you had something to do with Ronnie Doe. The guy Ronnie Doe that had claimed that he was your son's father.
I saw that, and that's why I thought it was petty, because why did you even like that? Like, I think what's really going on is the fact that I came out and said my truth about what's going on, and it's so embarrassing to say, oh, I did that. She probably forgot it because she lied to herself so long. Whatever happened, happened. So she tried to make me take it back as if I did it for a clout. Like, I'm not finna play like that, and I wasn't the only one that came out about you, so.
But she said she's suing you for making the allegations that she
Where's the paperwork? Where's the sue? She's lying. I ain't getting not one paperwork.
So there's no lawsuit?
No, it would have went viral.
I don't know what to make out of all that. Well, Chrisean later expressed hurt over Tesehki's insinuation, noting that she felt betrayed. Now, 4 months after our Tesehki interview, it appears that she and Chrisean have reunited during a recent live stream. Chrisean decided to call her up and see what the Lord ordered. Now, when Tesehki's real name Latifah picked up, Rock's face lit up and her sister matched her heartwarming energy. We love to see it. Take a look. Okay, well, what do y'all think?
I love how this happened so organically and genuine. They were just on live playing games with their cousins and like they were just on FaceTime. Because if this was like part of like a baddies reunion thing, I kind of would feel sideways about it. But I think it was genuine. And from knowing both of them and their brief encounters and them being on the show, I could tell they both had like a lot of hurt for not talking to each other. So I love that we're ending the show on a good story.
Yeah, and I think family, no matter how tough it can be, sometimes you have a significant bond with those people, you know, with your siblings especially. So, like, you carry a lot of similar pain, a lot of similar joys. Like, they share the parents, other siblings. So, like, for them to finally reunite and get back together is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. You're like, I don't care.
No, I will say this. I love Chrisean, and I really like Tesehki. I don't have the relationship with her that I do with Chrisean, and I'm glad to see, because I like them both, that they're getting along. But when I think about me, once you betray me, there's no coming back. Like, I don't deal with betrayal well. I think when you say I killed somebody, and like you can have me put in prison as a result of saying I killed somebody, there's no coming back from that. There's no kiki hee ha ha ha. There's none of that. You're dead. When you say that I molested you, like she said she molested her, I think that you can go through your experience of forgiveness, but I learned a long time ago that people can live in your heart and not be in your life. Like, I can forgive you, like God wants me to forgive, God wants me to not hold this animus towards you or whatever, and I'm learning to forgive people even in my day-to-day life now. That said, once you betray me, and betray meaning like you intentionally are trying to hurt me, cause harm, or take something from me or whatever. No, at that point, I could never, ever be cool with you like that again. I mean, maybe piece it up, make it seem cool.
I think both of those are definitely extremes. I do,
but those are extremes that are like real to these people.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I also do think siblings specifically know how to like go
and sisters especially
super far with the things they do. I mean, they're very public
Rob,
in doing
Rob,
it. I get it. I know what you're saying.
Rob,
I know what
you
you're saying.
molested me.
I hear
How
you.
do you come back from that?
You murdered your boyfriend.
You murdered your baby dad. How do we? There's no calling. There's no.
But that's,
I mean, let's be real. I have to be fair. On the shows with both of them, I was trying to see what the coming back together would be, right? But the coming back together may be like, can you both get closure with these allegations and then move forward. There's like an active lawsuit between both of them on the molest thing.
And the fight when she got jumped.
Where she had her friends fight her sister.
Fight to see.
But I would never find myself in this circumstance. But again, I'm just looking at the worlds they like travel in. They're famous
the worlds they travel in.
Yeah, I'm saying they're famous for like
Baltimore
being
worlds.
on the baddies or being on the dating show with Blue or like that. That's the world they come from.
That's the work.
But that's also
the world.
The world they come from.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a little bit different for them. Like I don't think you or I would be in a situation like that with our siblings, which never happened.
Well, you never know, because I'm learning that when people are famous or have money or whatever, like when people want to get close to that or they want a piece of that, they say and do whatever. I mean, again, like, I don't even want to start unpacking other things, but my point is when you intentionally try to inflict harm or take something from somebody or whatever by making allegations like that, there's no coming back from
that is valid, but I feel like they weren't making low blows to be evil. It wasn't out of evil, it was out of hurt. Like they were just hurt. So it's nice.
When you kill somebody, they don't say, did you do it because you were hurt or did you do it because you wanted them dead? You kill them. Like it's done.
Okay, yes.
I
but
mean,
a win is a win.
I don't know. I'm glad that you all have apparently pieced it up. You're both welcome on the Jason Lee show to sit down and talk about it together so we can unpack it.
Correct.
But you guys can't tear up the furniture, so there could be no fight because we don't have security. Well, maybe that day we would have security, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, either way, I'm just glad that we're done. So just goodbye. Just goodbye. We survived. Take it away. Thank you. My life is getting back to pure peace. This has been the most peaceful week I've had in the last 6 months. I just pray that it continues to happen. All right, let's just get to thoughts and prayers. Do you believe in cancel culture? Because in 2025, it just seems as if it's fading. Or maybe it's not. And if you ask Denzel Washington, it don't exist. As a man of God, he believes faith matters over followers. Can I get an amen? But while Denzel is rejecting cancel culture, social media is keeping it alive and well for Lil Yachty and Jillian Michaels. Now, Yachty disrespected a dead man, and Jillian offended a whole race. While Yachty apologized for his demeaning of George Floyd's lyric with that lyric, Jillian doubled down on defending white people during a slavery debate. Does she remember that she's raising a black girl in America? Who's going to remind her that she adopted a child from Haiti, a country that shares a similar story of oppression and slavery by the white man. Now, meanwhile, Haiti also shares the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic, the home country of Amara La Negra and her married baby daddy, who's in some serious hot water. Now, one person we can finally say isn't, though, is Chrisean Rock. While we're usually recapping some mess or drama she's caught up in, on this episode, the updates were wholesome. Chrisean and Tesehki have reconciled, and we couldn't be happier for the sisters. Now, y'all come stop by the Jason Lee show, because I have 2 more episodes left. And then we can really see what's going on. That is it for the show. Can we just... We made it. We survived. It's over. Now, follow us everywhere on social media. You can text me directly, where the number is right here, 310-388-646. Put the number up. Johnny, where's it at? There's the number, okay? Just make sure you text me, stay connected. Until then, just follow me on all things social media. I gotta go. Bye.
The Jason Lee Podcast.